Philadelphia 76ers and Brooklyn Nets made one of the biggest trades over the past decade last week when they swapped James Harden for Ben Simmons in a trade that most likely benefited both teams. However, for Sixers fans, this is a time that we've been waiting for a long time, as Ben Simmons is finally gone and we actually have another ball-handling, playmaking guard that can play on the perimeter alongside Joel Embiid. James Harden will no doubt add another level to the offense of the Philadelphia 76ers, who are already, without him playing a single game for the team yet, the third seed in the Eastern Conference and only 2.5 games out of first place. However, most people probably would not have considered them to be a championship contender before making this trade. So now when you add James Harden to a team that's already third place in the East, without its second best player playing the entire season and Joel Embiid completely carrying, averaging almost 30 points per game, 11 rebounds per game, is most likely the MVP frontrunner this season, you have what most NBA fans would now consider a championship contending team. So can the Philadelphia 76ers integrate James Harden into the team fast enough for them to go on a long playoff run, win the Eastern Conference, and even potentially win the championship? What's going on, everybody? If you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing for more Philadelphia sports videos and drop a like down below to help push this video out to other people. And without further ado, let's get into the rest of the video. As we speak, coming out of All-Star break, the Philadelphia 76ers are 35-23, sitting at the third seed in the Eastern Conference and only 2.5 games out of first place. They're coming off arguably their biggest win of the season when they beat the Milwaukee Bucks in Milwaukee with no James Harden and Joel Embiid, dropping 42 points, 14 rebounds, and 5 assists, and leading the Sixers to a big win. Joel Embiid throughout this entire season has been the most dominant player in the entire NBA. He's leading the league in scoring at 29.6 points per game, and is up there in rebounding as well at 11 per game. He's also had a career high in assists this season at 4.5 per game, and he's basically been doing everything on the court for the Sixers. He has one of the highest usage rates in the entire NBA over the past 20 years or so. Adding James Harden to the Sixers gives you a whole different level of offense that you can go to. James Harden is one of the very best playmakers in the entire NBA. If you look at it just statistics-wise, last season he led the league in assists. This year I believe he's second in assists per game, averaging over 10. And this is in a down year for Harden where he looked out of shape, he looked uninterested, he looked halfway out the door in Brooklyn. He clearly did not want to be there. But we also saw last season when he got out of Houston, he got to Brooklyn, he started playing so much better. He looked like he was much more invested. He looked like he got in better shape. And I think we're seeing a repeat right now. If you look at this picture of James Harden, look at this image of James Harden right now. Does this not look like prime James Harden to you? He clearly wants to be in Philadelphia and he's just happy to be out of Brooklyn. But me as a Sixers fan, I'm extremely excited to see this man play on the court next to Joel Embiid, next to all these other guys, Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris, Matisse Thybulle, everyone else on the team. I'm just so excited to see it happen because we've never had a player like this on our team since I can't even remember the last time. I mean, you're talking about a perimeter scorer, a player that can score from all three levels, that can get you into your offense, that can run the pick and roll. One of the very best playmakers in the entire NBA, can hit the three, can shoot off the dribble, can create his own shot. When is the last time the Sixers had that? Especially not even the playmaking. I mean, James Harden's playmaking adds a whole new level to the equation. We're now going to be seeing more open threes, most likely for these guys. For example, Danny Green has had a tough year, but I think him playing off James Harden is going to benefit him so much more. I think Tyrese Maxey playing off the ball as more just a pure scorer is going to be a lot more beneficial to him as a player because he's not really a point guard. He's more of a combo guard / shooting guard with just a pure score, and that's what he is. And I think James Harden, especially, I mean, you saw in that Milwaukee game, he came into a timeout. We went into a timeout where Tyrese Maxey was kind of deferring a little bit, and James Harden told him, hey, you got to attack, come on, be aggressive. And James Harden was telling him something in that timeout, and he came out, and I think he scored 12 straight points. James Harden's just going to be beneficial to have in that Sixers locker room overall, but what we really have to talk about is the fit between James Harden and Joel Embiid on the basketball court. James Harden has been one of the best pick and roll operators in the entire NBA since his Houston days. He's had a lot of success playing with bigs that, you know, are really good at screening and then diving to the basket and just catching lobs. Joel Embiid is not that exact player. Trust me, he's not the best lob catcher. He's not just going to dive to the basket. He prefers to pop out a little bit or maybe do a short roll instead of going all the way to the basket. But even with Joel Embiid being as good as he is, if he just does that and Harden's able to find him on some of those, he's going to get a lot more easy baskets than he already gets. And let's not forget, his ability to score one-on-one is one of the best in the entire NBA. Like, if you don't double Embiid, which teams have been doing the entire season, he's going to score or he's going to get fouled. So it's just going to be a lot more difficult for defenses to stop, because now you have two top 10 like superstar caliber players on that team, and it's just going to make the Sixers so much more dangerous offensively, because basically their entire offense up to this point in the season has been go to Joel Embiid, go to Joel Embiid in the post, go to Joel Embiid out here, and Joel Embiid has had to do everything, and now James Harden's able to lighten that load a little bit, and I think he's going to help out everyone else on the entire basketball court. Sixers already having one of the better records in the NBA prior to getting James Harden. He's just going to make them that much better. They're only 2.5 games out of first. I would not be surprised to see them get the first seed if James Harden and Embiid and the entire team were able to figure it out quickly. But adding James Harden to this Sixers team will probably make them one of the very best offenses in the NBA. They already had a pretty good offense, so that's going to make them a lot better. If you look at the Eastern Conference, I mean, there's plenty of capable teams, but everyone is so close together. The top 4 teams in that conference, I believe, Sixers, Nets, Bucks, and the Heat. Those are the top 4 teams in the conference. But this is the thing that you really have to think about. The Sixers were holding pace with all these other teams. I get it's the regular season, but they've been holding pace with all these other teams up until this point, with just Joel Embiid on their team as the lone superstar, and he's been carrying them throughout the entire season. And then you add James Harden, a top talent, a top offensive player, one of the best playmakers in the league, one of the best scorers in the league, onto your basketball team. That automatically elevates them. I think that they should be the favorite, or at least a top 2 favorite to win the Eastern Conference alongside Milwaukee, because Milwaukee's the defending champion. But they now have the best duo in the NBA if they can figure it out and work it out and play together the right way, with Joel Embiid and James Harden. That is 2 of the top 10 players in the entire world when they're playing at their best. This team, if they can figure it out and get their chemistry right and play the right way, they can legitimately come out of the Eastern Conference, go up against whoever comes out of the West in the NBA Finals, and I think that they could win in a 7-game series versus anybody, assuming that they figure it out and they play the right way. Take everything into account. Joel Embiid playing at an MVP level, adding James Harden, who's a superstar, Tyrese Maxey, his improvement from last year to this year, Tobias Harris, if he can average 20 points per game, and all these other players making their contributions, Philadelphia 76ers can come out of the Eastern Conference, go to the NBA Finals, and win, and we could have a parade on Broad Street. So James Harden should be debuting Friday against the Minnesota Timberwolves in Minnesota. So that should be a really exciting game, and I'm really excited to see that. So that's pretty much all I got for this video, guys. So let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Do you think that James Harden can help the Sixers win a championship this season? If you did enjoy this video and you want to see other videos just like it, subscribe for more. Make sure to like the video, because it takes like 5 seconds, and why would you not, if you did enjoy the video. So yeah, that's all I got for this one. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.